Have you ever had an experience where your brain was telling you one thing, your emotions were telling you another, and yet your intuition was saying something completely different? If so, you're not alone. My name is Nicole Guillaume and I'm a psychic medium. My passion is teaching people to accept, embrace, and enhance their intuition so that they can lead a full and authentic life. I believe we all have spiritual and psychic gifts, and when we're able to practice them and embrace them and enhance them, we usually find that our lives get better and we feel better as a result. So in this video, we are asking the question, should I trust my intuition? I'm going to lay out 3 different groups of cards, and you get to use your intuition to decide which deck or which pile of cards is the right one for you. So we have pile 1, pile 2, and pile number 3. Now remember, these are general readings. So if you need something more personal to you, visit my website at guidingechoes.com so you can set up a personalized reading with me. And in the meantime, go ahead and dive into this reading. Now, just take the information as it comes. You might notice that there's certain things that resonate with you, others don't. So just take a note of what makes sense to you and go with that. As usual, the timestamps for each of these piles will be in the description area down below, and I will also have them as a pinned comment as well. And with that, let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so this is for those of you who chose pile number 1. Also, I want to make mention that I am burning sage right now, so if you happen to see any little wispy streams of smoke going by, it's because I'm burning incense, and that's what you're seeing. So, all right, group number 1, let's go ahead and take a look at your cards. And here we have Justice in reverse, followed by the Hermit and the 9 of Cups. So as we are asking the question, should I trust my intuition? It seems as if you have already ran into a situation where you did trust your intuition. You thought some type of justice was going to be served. You thought things were going to work into your favor, and unfortunately they did not. And that's why we have Justice in reverse. Followed by that, we have the Hermit. So the Hermit is asking you, it's inviting you to take some time for yourself to process this loss that you recently had or the disappointment that you experienced, and really get in tune with yourself and listen to the message that your higher self, your intuition, and this experience as a whole has for you. We also have the 9 of Cups, and this seems to say to you that you can be proud of how you conducted yourself during this whole situation. Whatever happened that was unfair, whatever led to this turmoil that you're feeling, it's not because you made the wrong decision. It's not because your intuition was broken. It's not because you did something wrong. This is because there are things that happen outside of our influence. So when we look at the tarot, it's really important for us to take a look at the major arcana. And major arcana cards represent a greater influence outside of us, or rather a power outside of us that influences the course of our lives. Minor arcana, like what we have here, represent what we have control over. So since we have 2 of the 3 cards here being major arcana, this does verify and validate that this situation was beyond your control. There was nothing you could do to change the circumstances. So you might be thinking to yourself, if I made a different decision, if I made a different choice, if I had behaved differently, if I had acted differently, this situation would not have happened. I would have gotten what I wanted. I wouldn't have been disappointed. That's not necessarily true. The circumstances may have been different. There may have been different players, and by different players, I just mean different personalities involved, but most likely you still would have been dealing with some type of heartbreak, with some type of issue related to feeling disappointed or betrayed. So again, know that your intuition wasn't wrong. You took the actions that you were supposed to take, that you were led to take for whatever reason, and you can be proud of yourself for making the right call, for doing the right thing. I think that for many of you, as you're making some type of decision and you are going down this road, you knew it was the right decision, but you also knew that something felt off about it and you just didn't know what. So that means that your intuition was correct. You knew something was off, but you also knew this was something you had to do. And unfortunately, you just didn't get the results that you wanted. And this seems to be the main reason why you're questioning your intuition now and asking if you can even trust it. So let's go ahead and move these cards up and take a look at the next ones. So here we have obstacles and challenges, which we just kind of talked about up here with the Justice card. We also have light in reverse followed by power. So when I'm looking at these cards, I feel like this is saying there is light in this situation, but you may not be able to see it. So hang in there, because I think that for many of you, you're about to receive an epiphany. I think some of you, as you're even watching this video right now, as you're taking in the information from this reading, I think that you're already starting to see things a little differently. And you are recognizing that there is some type of light in a situation. And we also see, followed by this card, the power card. And so power to me would represent some type of authority. So the authority you do have in your own life. And it's saying that we learn from experiences. We get stronger by our experiences. And this whole situation may seem very unfair, and it probably is unfair, so I'm not doubting that. However, at the end of this, you did learn something from this. This did make you a stronger person. It made you more aware. It may have made you more empathic. You're now aware of how people can be deceitful, of how they can be cruel, how people can turn on you, how the law isn't always in your favor. You know, there's a lot to have been learned from this situation. And what this is going to do is it's going to actually foster a sense of agency within you, so that now when you run into similar situations and when you start to see the foundation being set for a experience that you don't like, or when you start to see the cards falling in a way in which you see this type of situation repeating itself, you'll now know what action to take. And you'll now know if you need to even get involved, if you need to pull out, whatever the situation is. So this is actually making you more powerful. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the next card. Here we have Inner Child. And when I think about the inner child, I feel like this is saying that it might be helpful for you to remember the spiritual and psychic abilities you had in your past, because those are still available to you. Those are still imprinted in you. And a lot of times as people grow up, they'll tell themselves stories such as, I used to be really psychic, I used to be a medium, I used to be intuitive, and as I grew up, I shut that down, or that changed, or I don't have that ability anymore. And the good news is, once you have an ability, it never really leaves you. It may go dormant. Maybe that's what you need it to do so you can survive, or it may go dormant because you're simply not flexing that muscle anymore. You're not using that ability. But it never fully leaves you. And it might even just change. It may be that the way your mediumship abilities worked, or the way that your ability to prophesy or heal others, whatever your gift was, it may have just changed. So you still have those same gifts. And what you can do is you can close your eyes and meditate on a time when you had these gifts, when you were a child, and you can even speak to your inner child and play with him or her a little bit and say, hey, remember when we saw this weird orb in our nursery? Or do you remember what it was like when we saw all those dancing lights in the bedroom? Remember when we had a sensation or a feeling that Dad was going to get us this thing for Christmas, and lo and behold, that's exactly what we got? You know, go back to those childhood memories and remember those things and call those gifts back to you. Because again, these are still your gifts. They are yours by birthright, and they haven't gone away. They've just gone dormant. all right? And they might have changed. They might be showing up in different ways. So be on the lookout for how they might be showing up now. Your next cards, and also your last cards, are the Moon, the Cross, and the Anchor. So when we take a look at these Lenormand cards, we know that the Moon can represent your intuition. So this is already spot on, right? But it can also represent the different cycles that you go through in life. And our intuition does go through different cycles, doesn't it? You'll hear from many different mediums, many different psychics, many different highly evolved spiritual people who will tell you that their gifts go up and down, right? It doesn't seem to be just this constant string. It's not this constant experience. It is very up and down because life is up and down. Our energy is up and down. And so our intuition does move in cycles, just like everything else in our lives, like our emotions, our finances even. Most things move in cycles. So we want to honor the cycle that our intuition is in. Maybe our intuition is in a cycle of rest. Maybe it's in a cycle of changing. Maybe it's in a cycle or in a season where it is fully bloomed right now, where it's almost like it's so lit up you don't know how to turn it down. You couldn't even turn it down if you tried. But just honor wherever your intuition is, whatever season or cycle it's in at the moment. And if you're in a point where your intuition is in slumber, let it be in slumber and know with full faith that it is going to wake up. The next card I have for you is the Cross, and this can represent some type of sacrifice or sadness. And maybe in order for you to enhance your intuition, that is going to require some type of a sacrifice. And maybe it's the sacrifice of your time. Maybe in order to really enhance your intuition, that sacrifice is finances. Maybe you have to, pay for a course and it's a little pricey, or maybe you need to buy some different tools and money's tight right now, so there is going to be some type of sacrifice that is made in order for you to enhance your intuition. And sometimes, again, the sacrifice can be taking time away from our friends and family for a few days or for a few hours or even a few weeks, because we need to foster some sense of quietness within ourselves. We need to be able to get to that point where all that exists is us and spirit and our intuition. And that can foster a sense of power and of growth. Because when we're around other people, even when they love us tremendously, they're often influencing our thoughts, our emotions, our well-being. And for the most part, that's okay. And in fact, when you're around healthy people who love you and want what's best for you, that's actually great. But it takes away from our ability to grow for ourselves, to think for ourselves, to come up with fresh new ideas sometimes. And so we just want to take that time away so we can get quiet within ourselves. And then also I find that sometimes it's healthy to, instead of looking at something as a sacrifice, because that is, of course, a negative way of looking at things, and it's a way that causes pressure on us. We don't want to look at it as a sacrifice. We want to look at it as a form of payment. It's an exchange. Jesus Christ is known for having died on a cross for the sins of all humanity. That's considered a sacrifice, and it's also the price of sin, right? So the price of sin apparently requires some type of blood, some type of punishment. And so Jesus Christ was paying the price for the sin so that people could get into heaven. At least that's not my belief, but that is the belief of Christianity as a whole. That's the myth, I guess you could say. And so it's the same thing with anything else that's dear to us. If something is precious to us, if it's important to us, we are willing to pay the price. We're willing to make a payment, especially if we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this thing that we're about to invest in, whether it's a tool, whether it is simply a method, like I said, of taking some time away from our family, or maybe going to a retreat, going someplace where we can be by ourselves. Maybe in order to do that, you need to go to an Airbnb for a while, and that's going to cost money, right? Or maybe you have to take some unpaid time off from work, so there's going to be a price, but it will be worth it if enhancing your intuition and learning how to trust it more and building that relationship with it is truly a priority for you. The next card we have is an anchor, and the anchor is about stability and security. And so when we put all of this together, we see that you're in this very interesting situation because you can either allow this painful situation, these obstacles and challenges and this injustice to cause you pain, or you can also look at this situation as a whole and say, there's light at the end of this. This is making me more powerful. Even now I'm becoming more powerful because I now have a new way of thinking. I have a new way of dealing with things. I have new tool sets. I have new mindsets, whatever it is. And I've taken time away from the situation to really think about it, to process all the emotions with it, to process the information, to get clear on my intuition. Like, this is all working in my favor. And there may still be a heaviness there because, granted, this was an unfair and unfortunate experience and situation, but you don't have to stay in that pain. You can move on from it, and you can say that this whole experience is fostering a new sense of stability because now I have a better understanding of how my intuition works and why it worked that way. And I have a better idea of who I am. I have a better idea of my own power, of how I can stand up for myself, of what situations I need to stay away from, and maybe what situations would be helpful for me to dive into. There's so much that you learned here. So again, process the information, really honor the current cycle and season that your own intuition is in. Pay attention to the pain and just don't focus on it too much, but acknowledge what was learned in the pain. What lesson did you learn? And know that that is providing you a sense of stability and security and trust when it comes to your own intuition. Because again, you didn't do anything wrong. You did the right thing, but sometimes when we do the right thing, bad things can still happen. And I feel like that was the situation for you. So yes, you can absolutely trust your intuition and just become more attuned to how your intuition works with you. I hope that you enjoyed this reading. I absolutely hope it was beneficial to you. And remember, if you would like a personalized reading with me, you can visit my website at guidingechoes.com to schedule an appointment with me. And if this is your first time watching one of my videos, I would like to welcome you to the Guiding Echoes community. I also like to invite you to subscribe to this channel. Here on this channel, we love to talk about things like intuition, the afterlife, basically all things spiritual. So if that's up your alley, be sure you hit that subscribe button. Also hit the bell icon so you can be notified when I release new videos in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. All right, and this is for those of you who chose pile number 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at your cards and see what they have to say. The very first card we have is the Moon. The second card we have is the King of Cups in reverse. And the third card is Page of Wands. So we're asking this question of, can you trust your intuition? And the very first card that we have is the Moon. And in tarot, the Moon refers to deception and lies. And as I'm tuning into this, and as I'm tuning into a majority of those who chose this particular pile of cards, I feel like many of you are in a situation where you feel as if you have to be deceptive for your own well-being and protection. And I think that for many of you, you're not exactly being deceptive, but you're having to withhold information. For example, you may live in a family environment, or you may be in a relationship where the people around you, or where your spouse or your partner they don't believe in this intuitive stuff. They don't believe in psychic abilities. They don't believe in ghosts. They don't believe in a lot of different things. And when you've mentioned it a time or two, maybe they made fun of you. Maybe they made you think like they were crazy. Maybe they belittled you. And if you are in an environment where there is a very heavy religious influence, then you may be ridiculed for having a different spiritual opinion than other people. And so when you know that people are going to attack you for your spiritual beliefs, you might get to a point where you just keep your gifts to yourself and you keep your spiritual views to yourself, because why open the door for that type of conflict, right? And so because you're not able to be your full and authentic self, you feel as if you're lying. You feel as if you're being deceptive, but really you're just being protective. And so I feel like there's this part of you, there's this great struggle going on because you are intuitive and you are gifted and you do want to foster your spiritual and psychic gifts, but you're not in an environment where it's safe to do that. And I feel like for many of you, you really want to be able to have open conversations about your spirituality. And if you get a premonition about something, you may really struggle with that because maybe there's someone that you want to speak to and you want to say, hey, I've got a bad feeling about this thing that's about to happen, or I have a bad feeling about you going on this trip, or, you know, I have a feeling that you're lying to me, you know, or something like that. And when we know things because of our intuition and we try to speak to someone about what we intuitively picked up on, they can get very upset. They might feel violated, they might feel scared, or they might just get full on angry with us because they didn't want us to know something, or maybe they were willfully being deceptive to us and we were calling them out on it. But anyway, intuitive and spiritual, psychic and precognitive abilities can make other people very uncomfortable, even when that ability is able to save their lives or help them to make better decisions regarding their finances, their well-being, their relationships, whatever it is. It's almost like people would rather struggle and fall than they would to receive intuitive advice. So I see this being something that's very difficult for you. And because you're in that environment, you do tend to question your intuition because you're not in a space where you can openly talk about it. So when these ideas come into your head, when these feelings arise in your soul, there is no one around you to bounce these ideas and these thoughts off of. So then you start wondering, is this all in my head? Am I just being crazy? What do I do with this? What's the use in having a strong intuition if I can't do anything with it, right? So I feel like so many of you, you feel like you're leading inauthentic lives because it's not safe for you to be your authentic self. And so that's a tough place to be in. The next card we have is the King of Cups in reverse. And this tells me that you are struggling with your intuition because you're struggling with your emotions. And you're struggling with your emotions because you're not able to, again, speak your true self. You're not ready to be authentic. And so you're not able to be authentic. And so since you can't be true to who you are in your environment among your friends, your family, coworkers, whoever's around you, or maybe you're isolated, that makes you feel very powerless. And so that's why we have this King of Cups in reverse. The last card we have is the Page of Wands, and the Page of Wands usually represents someone who has a message. He's a messenger. And so as we're putting all of this together, we see that you are a messenger. So whether that means you're an angel messenger, meaning you can connect with angels easily, maybe you are a medium, maybe you are able to connect with the spirits of those who are on the other side, or maybe you are insanely psychic. You tune into information, you pull up information that you shouldn't know, somehow you just know what you know, but you are a messenger. And that's why you're feeling so bogged down right now and feeling so stuck, is because you were created to be a messenger, to work on behalf of spirit, to give this advice and give this knowledge and give your intuitive wisdom to those who will hear it. And that's why it's so frustrating for you right now, because you're not in a position where you're around people who are willing to hear your message. And so when we look at this as a whole, we see, once again, you're very intuitive, you're highly intuitive, but because your emotions are so up and down, you have this, I want to say, this inner war that is raging inside of you. And that's a really frustrating place to be in. So let's go ahead and put those aside and take a look at your next cards. Here we have conflict and defeat. So once again, this is talking about you feeling very defeated. The next card we have is the base chakra, also known as the root chakra, followed by the throat chakra. So once again, we see this inability to speak up, to speak your truth because you feel unsafe, because your base chakra is connected with your ability to survive in this world. It is all about survival. It is all about earthly things, and not in a bad way, right? We need to be able to function on this earth so that we can move through this physical experience in our physical body. So we need things like food, money. We need a community that supports us, and that usually has more to do with your sacral chakra or even the solar plexus chakra, depending on what book you read. And so we see that right now you're in this situation where you feel, once again, as if your well-being is uncertain. You feel as if your emotional self and your spiritual self is not safe. And I think that for a lot of you who chose this card, even your physical well-being is not safe. So you may not be taking care of yourself properly. That's actually coming through very big for a lot of you. You're not taking proper care of yourself. So this could be in terms of not drinking enough water, not having a healthy diet, eating things that you know you shouldn't be, not getting enough sleep, getting too much sleep. There is a very significant imbalance here. A lot of it does have to do with the emotional strife that you're going through right now. The next card we have, again, the throat chakra. You're unable to speak your being forward, right? You're unable to speak to the people in your environment. However, you can always control the conversation you have with yourself. So if you find that you're telling yourself things like, I must be crazy, or why would anyone believe anything I have to say, pay attention to those negative messages. And remember, you're a messenger. You chose this pile for a reason. You're a messenger. And you need to start delivering kinder messages to yourself. And you don't have to speak your truth to other people right now. You're going to get to a point where eventually you're not going to be able to help it, because you can't stay under a rock forever. This King of Cups eventually has to go right side up. Otherwise, you're just going to drive yourself mad, and you're probably already in that situation where you feel like you're going crazy. You're not really going crazy, but you feel like you are. So pay attention to your thought process. What are you saying to yourself? How can you speak to yourself nicer? And then also pay attention to the messages that you're getting from your guides and angels. And also remember this, your guides and your angels, they're never going to speak to you in a way that is demeaning, that is, I want to say harsh, but that's not exactly the right word. I think sometimes our angels and guides can seem harsh because they can be very direct and very assertive. They don't always mince words, but they're not going to be disrespectful. They're not going to call you horrible names. They're not going to call you stupid. They're not going to put you down. They are here to lift you up, to encourage you, to guide you, and they will always do that in a realm that is respectful, in a manner that is respectful. So if you have an entity in your ear that isn't nice, that isn't polite, that puts you down, that is not a good guide. That is not a guide. That is some type of energy that's attached itself to toy with you. And so you may want to tell it to get lost. And again, call in your angels, call in your guides, call in the ancestors who love you, and ask them to start flooding your mind with positive thoughts, with good conversations. Ask them to provide a way for you to be more safe and to feel more safe. And we see, because these two cards came up, we know that these are most likely out of balance. So you want to start working on balancing those, and working with your spirit guides and angels is a good way to open the door to start allowing them to work with your energy so that you can eventually find yourself in an environment that is safe, where you can be that messenger and you can be the intuitive person that you are meant to be. Because you're already intuitive, you are that person, but there's certain things in your environment that is preventing you from blooming, right? So let's move these aside, take a look at your next card. Here we have positive expectations, and we see this fairy praying. I feel like, so I don't want you to worry too much about this positive expectations card. I want you to look more at how this woman is praying, right? She also looks like she may not be wearing any clothes. And to me, that speaks of being fully vulnerable while she's connecting to the universe. And so this card is asking you to make your prayers, make your requests, make your wants, your desires, and your needs known to the universe. If you don't have an active prayer life, start that now. Start that today. Pause this video even if you want to, and start praying to God, whoever God is, whatever God represents to you. If it's the universe, divine spirit, whatever it is, start making a connection to that being, to that creative intelligence. And don't focus and don't worry too much on the rules that are associated with the law of attraction. This is not about you manifesting anything right now, although that'll come later. Right now, this is about you connecting with the universe and making your needs known and processing all of these emotions that you've been holding on to. Prayer can be so healing, because when you enter that space where you are talking to the divine and you can feel the divine around you, and you can feel this sense of comfort and compassion and love coming from the divine as you are pouring your heart out, you will start to recognize that your needs deserve to be met. And you'll realize that there's no right or wrong way to talk to the universe. The universe is not shattered glass, guys. You're not going to hurt the universe's feelings, and you're not going to stop manifesting the things that you want simply because you were honest about your emotions. In fact, I think it's so important for us to be honest about how we feel about so many things in our lives. We have to process those emotions. We have to let them out. We have to speak to our guides and angels with so much authenticity and honesty, so that they can help us, so that we can start to move through those emotions and get to the point where we can manifest other things. But that a lot of times requires some form of healing first. So allow this to be a time where you are being fully authentic and know that you are being fully heard. Your guides and your angels, divine spirit, they're not going to turn a blind eye to you. They're not going to go tone deaf. They're not going to ignore you. They're not going to roll their eyes and be like, "God, can you believe what this one just said?" No, they love you completely, authentically, and fully. Give yourself permission to be vulnerable with them and ask them to prove their love to you. It's a tall request, I know. We keep throwing that out there. You say to the universe, look, I feel unloved, I feel unworthy, I feel stuck, I feel trapped, I feel unhappy, whatever it is you're feeling. And you can go into, I feel unhappy because I'm in this relationship, or I'm stuck at this job, or whatever it is. Let it be known. And you say to them, I feel like I'm alone in this. I need you to prove to me that you love me. I need you to give me some type of sign. I need you to bless me with some type of gift. I need you to give me the resources to change this situation, but I need your help. And I need you to start acting now. And you can say that daily, if that's how you feel daily. And what will happen is, since you are giving them permission to take action in your life, you will start to see things change. It may be slow at first, but it will start to happen. So even if you don't have faith that prayer works, even if you don't have faith that you have angels or guides watching after you, even if you don't have faith that there is a divine source that loves you more than it loves anything else in this world, test it out anyway. See what happens. Give it time. Things will change, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at your very last cards. Here we have the snake, mice, and the mountain. So once again, we're seeing that you are not in a situation where things are easy. This is very fascinating. This is very fascinating. You got the snake in Lenormand, and the snake also refers to deception. In fact, this says, vile is the serpent who lulls with a bite. Be not intelligent or slow to the fight. Flee every moment she turns on the charm. This poised opponent will bring you harm. You have someone in your life who is being very deceptive to you. I think you know who that is. And we also have the moon card. So again, deception. So now this is moving on to another area, because it's not just about you feeling inauthentic. It's about you knowing that someone's decepting you in some way. You're aware of someone who's lying to you, or maybe you're not aware of it yet. Maybe it's your intuition telling you that something's off, but you're gonna know what this deception is very soon. Deception can also be someone pretending about who they are. And I see this a lot with people who think that they're in twin flame relationships. And I say think they're in twin flame relationships because it'll go like this. You meet someone, there's an attraction. It seems as if the two of you have so many things in common. There's this magnetism that you just can't explain. And this person showers you with so many compliments, and they are behaving in a way that really touches your heart, and they watch the same movies as you, read the same books as you, listen to the same music, just everything seems to be coming together. But as time goes by, they start acting strange, right? They suddenly claim that they don't like those type of movies, that they never really did. They were just watching them for you. They listen to music that isn't the same as what they claimed to listen to when you guys first started getting together. They're not as nice to you anymore. In fact, now they're losing their temper. They're not very patient. They're actually not very kind. Deception can be when someone was pretending to be something they're not. We also see this aside from, people. And again, I want to go back to the reason I said that, supposed twin flame relationships is because I've seen it happen over and over again and again, where someone will claim to be someone's twin flame, and they do that to reel them in, and they play the part, they play the role. And those of us who are intuitive, we might feel as if something's off, but we're so caught up in the romance, we're so caught up in this idea of meeting our perfect match that we start to think that our intuition, which is warning us like, hey, something's off with this person, hey, this person isn't who they're pretending to be, we start to say to ourselves, that's just fear. I've never been in a healthy relationship. I've never felt this magnitude towards someone before. Like, this is my fear trying to get in the way of something that's good. But really, it's your intuition and your fear working together to help you put on the brakes, right? And so you want to be mindful of that. You want to listen to that when those messages come up. If your intuition is telling you something's off with someone, someone's lying to you, someone's not who they pretend to be, listen to that. I also see this in the spiritual realm all the time. There's an astrologer on YouTube who I used to follow, and he's now claiming he's a psychic medium, and I see no evidence that he's a psychic medium. There is another spiritual teacher on YouTube who has a lot of subscribers, and she says a lot of wonderful things, and I've had the displeasure of, I guess you could say, observing this person, and I know that this person is not who she pretends to be. The message that she puts out there isn't authentic to what she actually believes and how she behaves, and it's mind-blowing. So there are a lot of people out there who are fake, who are deceptive, and they're deceptive on purpose. And remember, there's gonna be sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissists, blatant liars, and toxic personalities in every field, right? Whether it's spiritual, whether it's your work, wherever, they're always gonna be there. Trust your intuition when your intuition says, hey, listen up, something's not right. Don't trust this person, don't believe this person, something's not right. Your intuition is on the ball with this, okay? So it's so important for you to know. The next card we have is the mice, and the mice is about someone stealing something from you. When we get involved with people who are deception, do you know what they steal from us? They steal a lot of things. They steal our time. They steal our self-esteem. They steal our self-respect, because we may end up in a relationship that was fantastic at the beginning. That person seemed so generous. As time went on, they turned out to be malicious. They turned out to be controlling. They turned out to be all these things. And we're caught off guard by this. And we feel the need to almost lie, or not exactly lie, but if they do something that makes us or makes themselves look foolish in a crowd, we may feel the need to explain why they behaved that way, right? We may come up with excuses for them. And we may even believe what we're saying, but in making an excuse for that toxic behavior, do you know what we're doing? We're robbing ourselves of self-esteem. We're robbing ourselves of respect from other people, because they're going to look at us and be like, okay, you actually think that the way this joker behaved is okay? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, seriously, what's wrong with you? So yeah, they steal our time. They can steal our finances. They can steal our belief in ourselves, especially if they are making derogatory comments about our intuition, especially when we turn out to be right. If we confront them on something and say, I know that you're lying to me about this, or you told me in the beginning that XYZ, and now I'm finding out da-da-da-da-da, they'll turn it around on you, right? How can you say that about me? Or I wasn't lying, or I really did like those movies when we were dating, but my preferences just changed, you know, whatever it is, but you're gonna know it's bull, right? You're gonna know it's malarkey. So be very mindful of the people you invite into your life, because they do have some type of power over you. They do. Because the people we invite into our lives, they're supposed to be our supportive community. And if they're not giving something to us, they're taking something from us, right? So ask yourself if this person, this narcissist, this sociopath, this toxic person, this compulsive liar, whoever this trashy person is, you better ask yourself if they're worth this. You better ask yourself if you like being stolen from. You better ask yourself if you like wasting time. You better ask yourself if you like this low self-esteem. Better ask yourself if this is worth it. Because chances are, if you're honest with yourself, you're gonna know it is not. The next card we have is the mountain. And the mountain represents an obstacle, a challenge that's in the way of what you want. And so you know that it's going to be difficult to get out of the situation, right? Like right now, as you've heard all this, you've probably been like, Nicole, all of this is spot on, but I can't just leave this person. It's not that easy. Our finances are tied together. We're married. We have kids. I have nowhere to go. Those are all valid concerns. They're not strong enough to keep you in this. It's not worth it. This is a challenge. Getting out of this is a challenge. Finding your agency is a challenge. But that's all it is. It's just a mountain. And do you know what we do with mountains? With faith of a mustard seed, we move them. We climb over them. We prepare for the challenge. We get what it is that we need to be able to hike this mountain and get to the other side. And we prepare for the challenge. We meet it head on. We don't give up. We don't give up. We look at it, we say, that sucks. This is not going to be fun. but we do it anyway. And on the other side of that is self-respect, is self-esteem, is someone who will truly value you, is true friendship, is healthy communities, is the ability to fully embrace your intuition without feeling embarrassed by it. Everything you need is on the other side of this mountain. So you need to ask yourself, which is worth it? This, or gathering the strength and the courage to get over this, to get to where you want to be, to get to those now positive expectations. Choice is yours, my friends. So I do hope that this reading was helpful to you. If you would like a personalized reading, you can visit my website at guidingechoes.com to set that up. Also, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, I would like to invite you to subscribe to this channel. Also hit that bell icon so you can be notified in the future when I release new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Okay, and this is for those of you who chose group number 3. Let's go ahead and take a look at your cards and see what they have to say. So the first card I have for you is the Knight of Wands. This is followed by the Two of Cups and ending with the Four of Swords. So the Knight of Wands to me is someone who is gallantly I guess rushing into a situation without having all the information. Here in the Two of Cups, we have a partnership, and then also here we have rest. And so when it comes to your intuition, I feel like your intuition is very lit up. So when you're asking, can I trust my intuition? You can. However, you need to be sure that you're not exactly rushing into things in spite of, or because, I guess you could say, of the intuitive advice that you get. So you may hear about a job opening somewhere and your intuition tells you, yeah, that's the right job, like go get it. So you're like rushing to get everything prepared. You run out the door, you go get this interview. It seems fantastic and you don't get the job. Well, why is that? You didn't necessarily take the time to sit down and prepare yourself for what was to come. I think that when our intuition lights up and it promises a good romantic life or a friendship or certain things that get us excited, we rush into it. And because we are so desiring of this thing, we sometimes sabotage the gifts and the experiences that were meant for us. So just be sure that you slow things down. And also, again, right here with the Two of Cups, we see that you and your intuition actually have a really good relationship. Like when your intuition speaks, you know exactly what it is saying. And then we also have the Four of Cups, right? Or I'm sorry, the Four of Swords, which indicates rest. So one more time, that indicates not needing to do something when we get an intuitive hit on something. And granted, sometimes when our intuition tells us to take action, we definitely want to pay attention to that. But sometimes our intuition will give us information that's just meant for us to kind of mull over. And we want to make sure that we know the difference between rushing into something, taking action, and knowing when to just kind of sit with some information and really think about how to move forward with it. So I don't feel like intuition is a problem with you. You're extremely intuitive. However, what you may be struggling with is the action you should take when you get an intuitive hit on something. So based on this, I feel like it's saying just slow it down, trust your intuition, trust what it is that you're feeling, and don't try to rush anything that's meant for you. And don't try to rush into a situation that doesn't pertain to you simply because you got an intuitive hit on something, okay? So let's go ahead and move into your next set of cards. Move these up a little bit. And let's see, here we have transformation, followed by patience, and here we have positive movement forward. So look at this, patience came up for you, which is what we were just talking about. And to me, the rest card can also be about patience. It can also be about waiting for something to grow, waiting for the perfect time to act. So here we have transformation, and we see that you are going through some type of, I want to say, a spiritual awakening. You may have already gone through 1, 2, or 3 before, but I feel like we always go through some type of spiritual awakening. I don't think it's a one and done. I think that we continue to embrace and enhance and play with new ideas. And so we're constantly evolving, but this evolving process can move in cycles. So you are in a season where your gifts are transforming. They are becoming stronger for most of you. I think that they are becoming significantly stronger. And you might notice that one of your clairs is lighting up more than the other. So you may have noticed that where clairaudience was your strong point for a while, now it's claircognizance, or now it's clairsentience. So there is some type of transformation happening there. I also feel that you guys are actually on the verge of something big with your personal life. So intuition aside, it feels like there's some type of blessing or gift or just this new season of life that's going to be amazing for you. So I feel like many of you who are watching this are also natural manifestors. Like you manifest what you want, when you need it, how you want it. Like you're really gifted in that. But you've also manifested some not so great stuff. So just be mindful on how you're using your intuition to manifest what you want. And yeah, just know it seems like there's some really good things ahead of you. Again, be patient with it. Don't try to rush into it. Just allow these things to unfold. And then we also have positive movement forward. So once again, know that you are sailing in the right direction and there's amazing things in store for you. So keep that positive attitude. Know that what is yours, what you desire is coming to you. Next card I have for you is family harmony. And I feel like for many of you, this is more or less an acknowledgement of the harmony that is within your family. And your family may not necessarily be your bloodline. It can be the community that you spend the most time with. So I feel like this is just the acknowledgement that you're in a good community, that your friends are trustworthy, they truly do have your back. Even your acquaintances could be more loyal to you than you think that they are. But yeah, as I'm tuning into this, there is some harmony and you are supported, yeah, by the people around you. What's nice about this is I feel like this provides you the opportunity to practice your intuition. So if you want to do that through cards or whatever it is, you have different people in what you consider your family circle. This is maybe your soul family. You have plenty of people to practice with. So be grateful for that because not a lot of people have this. I know I don't. So the next card we have is House, followed by Scythe, and next we have the Fox. So as we are looking at these cards, the house represents, well, the house can represent a few different things, but once again, it normally represents where you dwell, or it represents your family. So family's coming up again. So you have, you have where you live, you have your family. We have the Scythe, and so the Scythe can be one of two things. It can be something being cut off because it no longer serves you, but it can also be a harvest. And I feel like for many of you, this card actually represents both. I think that this is more like behaviors in your life and habits in your life that you're about to cut off. And because of that, you are going to experience a new season of abundance. So you're in the process of right now of letting go of things that no longer serve you, and really probably have never served you. And because this follows the House card, this might be that you're like sleeping in, that you're kind of lazy and you procrastinate in your own environment. So I feel like this has so much to do with your personal routine and not even so much to do with your intuition, because your intuition is fine. The next card we have is the Fox. And this is interesting because it says, the fox is sly, a friend is too. Someone may try to deceive you. With wily glances, the renard snaps, evade deception and beware old traps. So this could be about you cutting off people in your life who were deceptive towards you. And I feel like for many of you who chose this card, you're already in the process of that, or you've already let them go and you're second guessing it. So this card is saying you made the right choice to let that person go. And if you take some time to really think about your environment now and think about your life, you're going to notice that things are probably a lot more peaceful now that this person or these people are gone, right? So this is actually a really good thing. But the fox can also be, can also refer to wisdom. Like if we're going to go more in animal totems, like Native American traditions of the fox, and because the fox can be the trickster, but then also, I'm trying to think of the other myth. There's so many myths around the fox, but the fox can also be someone who's sly, but not in a deceptive way. This could be someone who's wise, who's charming and wise. And so I feel like you're charming. I think that so many people who chose this pile, I feel like you're extremely charming, but I feel like you also have to issue great responsibility with that, because I feel like many of you can be manipulative to get what you want out of people. So just be aware of that. And sometimes I think people are manipulative without realizing how toxic they're behaving and how manipulative they are. So just be aware of that. Know that those traits are possible within you. Know that you're not above that. And whenever you feel the need to stack the cards in your favor, which we all do from time to time, ask yourself, okay, is this really an ethical move? And if someone else was about to do this to me, would I be okay with that? So yeah, there you go. So my friends, I hope that this was helpful for you. Please remember that if you would like a personalized reading with me, you can visit my website at guidingechoes.com. And if this is your first time watching one of my videos, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to this channel. Also, be sure that you hit that bell icon so you can be notified when I release new videos in the future. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.